Okay, so we're live. Welcome to the Magic Minds podcast. I'm Matt Burke. Today I've got a super special guest, Liz Gillis. What's the crack?
You alright, man? How are you?
Thanks for coming on the show. The reason I've asked Liz to come on the show, and I'm really super excited, if anyone has been listening to the podcast over the last while, if you haven't listened to it, shame on you. But the reason I've asked Liz to come on the show is because she's a local historian, as in local to the Liberties. I'm so proud of the Liberties. So to have somebody of that calibre, historian, author, what else? Activist, trouble riser, gouger. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
You were talking about from our years when we were kids, man.
No, I promise you, just fucking trouble. Right, so come here. As I say, you're a historian and an absolute passionate advocate for the Liberties. Give us a little bit of history, though, about your background and how you got into being a historian.
Okay, well, like you, born and bred in the Liberties, family got back generations. And yeah, always loved history, and that was thanks to my dad, like, you know, going out on a Sunday with me, bring me around, telling me all the things that happened, especially 1916 and stuff. And I had a great history teacher in Warramount, Miss Bourne. She was just brilliant. Despite the fact that I had no interest in the Industrial Revolution, she was passionate about it. And once you see someone that's passionate about something, that sticks with you, even if you cannot be bothered to know what they're talking about. But that wasn't my first choice. I loved drawing, and when I left school, I went and studied animation in Ballyfermot. Graduated at that, worked in animation. I was really lucky. Went to Australia. When I was in Australia, then the history really started to creep in on me. So when I came back, I was like, I've done the animation now. I think I'll try the history. And I was lucky enough that I got accepted to a CE scheme run by John Gallagher, who, as anyone knows from the Liberties, John Gallagher was the Liberties, and he ran the local heritage centre in Nicholas and Myra, and that just really cemented my passion for history as something that I really wanted to do. And I started tour guiding on that project. We were doing exhibitions, and then I went back to college, Sarah Ulf School in Hairden over on Prussia Street, and which was an amazing college because you set your time limit, and it was about researching and you actually really developing what areas you were into. And once you could back up what you were saying, they allowed you to go with that. It wasn't you just regurgitating what the lecturer was feeding you. And then one place that I always had a mad passion about was Kilmainham jail, and I applied for a job there, and I got accepted on my first time. Second time went for the job, and I got the job as a seasonal tour guide, and that was in 2006. The 9th anniversary of the Easter Rising started a week before that.
Wow.
Was there for it, and was like just standing there with mouth wide open, not only for the fact that I was in Kilmainham jail, but for the fact that I was able to walk past Tom Clark's cell every day. And I was there for nearly 9 years. I became full-time in there in 2008. And then I was still in college, but then I was loving doing research and stuff, and I was doing research for people and their books. And then a friend of mine asked me, did I know anything about the Irish Civil War? And that was a particular ground of mine, was the Irish Civil War, because no one was really looking at the Civil War at that time. And I was like, I've been researching that. And he's like, well, I've been asked to write a book, maybe I put you forward to do it. So had a meeting with Mercer Press. They liked what they saw, and then that's how I got to write the first book, The Fall of Dublin, which was on the Civil War in Dublin. And then it sort of snowballed from there. I just like, I can do this. And people like it. So I just went, okay, keep going, see how far I can push this thing. And then 2018, here we are.
Yeah.
So
I just want to take you back. How you came onto my radar was, right? And it's interesting, you just talked there a minute ago about passion, and I'm really enthusiastic about hearing about other people's passions. And just by coincidence, my daughter one day was talking about your sister, and then she mentioned that you had a book. And I'm like, hold on a minute. Liz Gillis has a book. And she went, she has a few books. I said, what? You're telling me the girl across the road? No disrespect. I was like, she has books and I don't know about this and I want to talk to her. So I was like, she has to come on the show. I really have to. So you come on my radar months ago, and I researched you, and I was looking up, and I was so impressed to sit and share a story with somebody there's wrote some books and they live beside me. And you're from the Liberties. I'm not blowing some up your hole when I say this. You're like a treasure in our area. And I'm like, that's savage. So to get you on, I was like, we have to get it. And that's what I'm all about, is selling the Liberties to people. You know, and we'll touch on that later on.
Yeah.
I just want to pull you back to the Kilmainham jail. For people that don't know if they lived on the moon or the Martians, just give us a quick synopsis of, or a brief thing of the Kilmainham jail in a nutshell, or what can you tell me about it?
Okay, for anyone who's interested in the Irish Revolution, Kilmainham is the Mecca, because it's 1798 to 1924. So, you know, the United Irishmen, Robert Emmet, you've got Charles Stewart Parnell, you've got the Fenians, you've got the Invincibles. Then, of course, 1916, the leaders of the Easter Rising are executed there. Then it's like a who's who in the War of Independence, because you've got fellas from all over Ireland that are held there. Some big names, fellas, if anyone saw the Boy George, Who Do You Think You Are? That was on last week. His relative, Thomas Bryan, was held in Kilmainham jail before being transferred to Mountjoy to then be executed in March 1921. And then, of course, and this is like the big one, certainly in terms of the Liberties connection, the first 4 lads to be executed in the Irish Civil War were 4 local lads. 2 were from Eccleston Street, and 2 were from Usher's Island. So just down the road from where we are. They were arrested on Thomas Street trying to ambush a Free State patrol, and they were the first of 77 executions that took place in 6 months between November 1922 and May 1923. And what I've just discovered 2 weeks ago is that the first 8 executions of the Civil War, 7 of them, the exception being Erskine Childers, 7 of them were from the Dublin 8 area. Very close proximity to where we are.
Wow.
So it's like, and their executions, the first 4 happened up at Kilmainham jail. So Kilmainham symbolises every high point of Irish revolutionary history. It touches on it in Kilmainham. Wow. So for nearly 10 years, I was walking around 5 days a week telling people these stories, meeting relatives of people who were imprisoned, who were executed. And actually, one of the great things about working in Kilmainham, a project that myself and Micheál O'Divlin have worked on, he started in Kilmainham with me as well, the Custom House project, where this was the last major engagement undertaken by the IRA in May 1921, where they burnt the Custom House, all the tax records.
And that's one of your books?
That's one of the books, yeah.
Burning of the Custom House, May 25th?
Yeah, that's it. That was came out last year. Right. And this started a little project. We just started a little photo album. It was basically a photo album made of photographs that were taken with a camera that was smuggled into the prison.
Wow.
And all hand developed and all. But they're going, who are these fellas? Started researching it. Turns out all these guys involved in this operation. Now we have been able to get in touch with about 70 relatives of those men, and we have an annual commemoration down in the Custom House on the Saturday closest to the 25th of May. Myself and Micheál have gone public with a conference. We've been doing it for the last 8 years. It went public 2 years ago.
Jesus.
So we're hopefully planning we're determined to have a major event in 2021 for the centenary, because we're countering what historians have said about it. That was a disaster and everything else. They say 120 men took part. I found nearly 300 men took part, and not all of them were arrested. So that's stuff that, working in Kilmainham, that's what opened my mind to these stories and telling these stories and being able to write about them.
I'm thinking of getting, this is off the topic and I just want to go, I'm thinking of doing this, my podcast, by camera soon. I'd love this to be camera. Your hands are waving around like bonkers. Like, I'm sitting here watching a film I've never seen before. I have a big smile on my face. This is deadly. You're waving around like you're directing planes. I love your enthusiasm. It's fucking deadly. Right, gonna jump forward now. Talk to me about the books. 5 books?
6.
6. I've 5. I've got the Hales Brothers, the Fall of Dublin, Women of the Revolution, Revolution in Dublin, and the May 25th burning of the Custom House. What did I miss?
The one I co-wrote with Mary McAuliffe, and it's because I co-wrote it. It's We Were There, and that's the 77 women of the Easter Rising. And basically, you had of the 300 women say that took part in the rising, 77 were actually imprisoned. 22 of them from around here, the Indian and the Heron branch, and they are hardcore. Believe me, they are so brilliant.
Hardcore babes.
Militant beyond belief. These women went back like to 1900. They'd been out activists, Republican, fight's going to come and we're going to be there. But they're all from around. You've got the Cooney sisters from Basin Lane.
Right.
And then, Annie Cooney ended up marrying Dennis O'Brien, who, now not Dennis O'Brien of today.
Just to be sure about that.
Because when I say that to people, they go,
the face drops. Yeah, mine was like, what?
But he was from Pimstree. Right. They were neighbours, fought together in 1916, and then occupied, the old the dispensary in South Earl Street.
Yeah.
That was occupied in the Civil War on the 28th, 29th of June.
Jesus.
The Cooney sisters were there, but they were sharpshooters. They were trained in to use weapons. Josie O'Keefe and her sister from Brown Street, out again in 1916. And these were the ones, she could dismantle guns, carry them across the city, then put them back together. They were so involved. And then after 1916, you've got the Amy Camp branch of Kilmainham on, and that's where Maisie Morrissey, Imelda May's granny, she's a member of the Amy Camp branch. They were all from Reginald Street, Grey Street, the Coombe.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
I've goose pimples on my neck standing up here. Holy Jesus.
And this is what the next book is about, because at the minute I'm researching the rebel liberties, basically.
Yeah,
and doing the history of that. So
I'm definitely going to come back to that. You've 6 books. You started writing them in 2000 and...
It's 2010, 2011, the first one was published, yeah.
We're now in 2018. How did you squeeze 6 books in? Jesus Christ.
Jeez, I tell you, when I had a 9-to-5 job, I was able to do it, because you've only got so limited time that you
manage your time better?
Yeah. Since I'm now, freelance, it's yeah.
Yeah. Less structure.
Yeah, totally less structure. It was just basically on my days off, going up to military archives to research and stuff, and that was in the days before they put anything online, so you had to physically go up and read all these records. Brilliant stuff. And it was just I was able to stick to a timetable and really work into the night, but that's the way I work. I like staying up late at night and reading and researching and writing. So that's, sleep patterns, out the window. But yeah, it was just a case of it has to get done and do it. So yeah, I don't know how I did it. Didn't sleep for a long time, but there you go.
Wow. Here's a question for you. These books have been written and researched. How did you write books about the revolution, about these people? Where did you get the information that hasn't been already done? How did you make these books that you're not rewriting stuff that's already done? Because you're telling me stuff that I've never even heard of, and it's you've uncovered pearls of wisdom. How did you do that?
It was just literally sheer luck, going up to, say, military archives, and I cannot praise them enough for the work they do. They are so lovely up there. And I sort of built up a rapport with them, and I would just say, look, is there anything on this? And they'd get to know what I was looking at, and they'd say, here, you might have a look at this file, and so on. But one thing, the books that I wrote, I write them because those stories weren't written, and no one was writing them. So the only way I could find out was to actually look myself and write those stories. And the Hales Brothers is the perfect example of that, because the Hales Brothers was a process of 10 years. That was my degree. It was a long, long process. And I'm glad that I didn't finish it in 2006, because so much more information came out in the 8 years that I was doing it, including me meeting the family. And it meant going down to Cork, just ringing up people cold, going, hello, I'm from Dublin, and are you related to Tom Hales? And you go, yeah, and people just taking that chance with me, and just going down, and the response was amazing. And that's with the Hales Brothers, they were always mentioned in books about the Irish Civil War, that they symbolised the Irish Civil War, brother against brother. But yet there'd be only a paragraph or a couple of pages on them, and their stories, everything. If you've seen The Wind Shakes the Barley, that's their story. That whole story, that whole film is them. The end, a little bit of dramatic license, but the whole thing, the torture scene and all, that's Tom Hales. And it was like, right, well, I'm not going to get the information unless I look for it. And then I found it and kept finding it, and then was able to write a 2,000 or 3,000 word thesis, and then it got accepted for a book. So yeah, it was like
incredible, absolutely incredible. What was the reception like from your peers within the historians, within the? I'm not sure. Is there an echelon of where, like, what did they see? What was the feel of from them about your books?
Well, certainly the people that my mates, and there's a gang of us, we're a little cohort of
historian gangs, coming at you,
like, keeping it real, and I'm telling you, we are totally off centre, because we wouldn't appeal to the established, the academics, because look, the way we approach it is, this happened, this is what we've discovered, there's the paperwork. We can prove everything that we say, and like certainly with the Custom House, it has rancored a lot of people because we're totally going against the grain. But we've everything. I've found all the documents to back up what I'm saying, and our approach to it is, look, this is our history. It's people. It's not nice, and my mates have been so supportive, and we all push each other on.
Deadly.
And it's like and we'd all keep an eye out for each other, because we can't do it all. I'm like, I can only cover so much, and one example is Paul O'Brien, who's a brilliant historian, great military historian, and his first book he wrote on the Battle of Mount Street Bridge in 1916, the Battle of 1916, like the success for the volunteers in 1916. And he was in Kilmainham jail working, and me being nosy, I was like, what you doing? And he's like, I'm writing a book. I was like, go on. And he said Mount Street Bridge, and no one had done that on Mount Street Bridge. Like, and I was like, oh my God, who's felt us do something on Mount Street Bridge? And I'd like researched it before his essay in college was about it. Yeah. So then I was like, have you got this stuff? And he's like, no. I was like, well, here, I have it. There you go. And that's what we do. We share, we encourage, and we'll back each other up.
Deadly.
And the people like that, and they see we're genuine.
Yeah.
So if someone sort of, comes out and criticises us, like, yeah, okay, whatever. Look, I'm not killing anyone, and I'm not dying. So, get over it, that type of thing. We're having fun, and the people see that, and we're all there for each other. We're a very supportive group.
Oh, like they'd be thinking you need to be a bit more academic, you need to say it in a certain structure, it needs to be done, it must be delivered in a certain academic way. That bullshit.
And that's what it is bullshit.
It is what it is.
Look, come here. I don't care if you get people dancing around and having a puppet show with Patrick Pearson, Tom Clark. If it gets some kid interested in history, do it. It doesn't have to be in an academic book with big words that nobody can understand. It's a story. You
remind me of a guy that I first interviewed called Frankie Gaffney. I listened to Frankie Gaffney on the radio one day, and he was talking about language and linguistics. And if I had been listening to David Dimbley, I wouldn't listen to that shite back. But I got hooked on it because Frankie Gaffney has a Dublin accent, made it real and accessible to me. And I was like, kids could learn so much from this dude.
Yeah.
He's not an academic, and kids wouldn't feel like he's from another planet.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have, and I think that'd get kids far more interested in history and politics.
Anything. Get them thinking about that you're not in this box that people say you have to stay in. The world is anyone's oyster, and that includes the kids around here, especially the kids around here. Yeah. And if they can see that previous generations like us have gone and tried it and done it, then they can see that, that can be us as well, no matter what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. You're making it real. I love it. What is it about that era, that whole thing, that stokes your fire, that sticks a thing about? What is it? What is it about it? Give us the why.
Oh, jeez. I just love it.
I know, that's a difficult question. It's just enormous, but
I suppose there was a generation of people who, they took on the greatest empire the world had ever seen. And as you know, people aren't born revolutionaries. It's their situation creates them. And a lot of these people came from nothing. They had nothing to lose, especially when you look at the Irish Citizen Army men and women who were the bottom of the pile, the people who had gone out on strike in 1913. They had nothing to lose. And once you've reached that level, that's when you're most dangerous. James Connolly lived across the road. Like, he lived on Pimlico, for God's sake. Like, when you think of that...
Like, just across the road over there?
Pimlico.
Oh, Jesus.
Number 54, Pimlico, where the car park is now. That's where James Connolly... His son, Roddy, was born here. His baby boy, his only boy. He had 5 girls and Roddy. And, oh my God, there's great interviews with his daughter, Ryan. Mrs. Farrell was the neighbour, and she helped deliver him. And when he went to America, Noel and his daughter, Mona, she died before the family went to America. But when they came back, and he used to still come back to the Liberties. Like, he helped stop evictions that were happening in Grey Street with the artisans' dwellings, because they had put toilets in to the houses, so they wanted the people to pay more rent, and the people couldn't afford it, so they were going to evict them. And James Connolly organised the meeting, and there's a big mass resistance to it, and he helped stop the evictions. But when you're looking at people like that are from not only major historians or major historical figures, but the fact that they're living here, then that increases the passion. Just, it goes beyond. So it just makes me love it even more. Like, and if you look at just the sheer level of people that we had in connection with 1916, James Connolly, Michael Mallon, born in near Newmarket, had a shop on Meath Street. Con Colbert, Watkins Buildings, just down the road, but his mates, the Coonies, were in Basin Lane. Sean Houston, down in the Mendicity Institute, that's where he fought for 3 days, meant to only hold for 3 hours. Houston Station's named after him because he worked there. You also have then Kevin Barry, his dad had a dairy here in Pimlico, and Kevin Barry's face represents St. Kevin in Meath Street Church. So when you're in St. Catherine's, on the left hand side, second column in, look up and you'll see Kevin Barry's face to represent the image of St. Kevin. And you have that connection with his dad being from having a premises here, business here.
Wow.
And then, Jesus, like with the whole War of Independence, you've just got just so many names. And then of course the Civil War is just... So you read about these events in books, and then you're looking at the fact that these people actually lived here, that they're from here, or they had something to do with this area. It's just like, yeah, bring it on. So,
look, here, I'm going to campaign for you to go down to Franner, the primary school around here. You got to go teach kids this. Like, you'll have historians signing up the historian skills.
I have. I've done the skills around here. I've done walking tours with them. I've done talks. We did the 1916 project with them. Where
they must have been buzzing.
They were great. Brought them up to Kilmainham jail, got all the schools up to Kilmainham, and I did a tour with them. And the one thing that I always do, because I used to love bringing kids around from these disadvantaged areas, so Jobstown, Liberties and all, and these kids, give me them any day over private schools, because those kids would buy and sell them. They're just great kids. And once you click with them, as in, if it was young fellas from James Street, and he'd be like, right, do you know anyone from the area that had anything to do? I'd be like, no. And I'd be like, okay, W.T. Cosgrave went, right, grand, he was overseeing the 77 executions, but he was born in James Street, Kenny's Pub, that was his gaff. Eamon Cant married in James Street Church, and by the end of the tour they're thinking, going, we live in a pretty but the area isn't as bad as people make it out to be. There's something to be proud of. And it's like, that's your history. You're part of that. That's your heritage. And
it's the way you deliver it. Not many people's going to say your gaff, his gaff,
yeah.
your house, and the story building, right? And then they were saying, no, your man killed some bloke right over there beside your gaff. And they're going, yeah, she actually makes that sound like that's like real. And
That's because it is.
yeah, and you get buy-in. So your delivery is savage. My next question was to you, what is about the Liberties that makes it so magical? Right now, I'm sorry, and I hope I don't just like saying I don't believe in God. Well, I don't. Yeah. I'm not the most patriotic person in the world, but I am bursting with joy and passion. And anyone that knows me knows I always say I'm from the Liberties before I say I'm from Dublin, before I say I'm from Ireland. What is it about this place that makes it so magical?
I don't think you can sum it up in a word. It's many things. I think one thing is that it's the people.
Okay.
And you find that everyone around here, their families go back. generations. It's not just their parents, it's their grandparents, it's their great grandparents. And the Liberties is not just a place where they live, it's part of them. And the area is seeing so many phases, and it's been classed as a disadvantaged area so many times, even going back to the 1800s. But it's a resilient area. It has always come back, and that is down to the people. And despite the fact that we may have been or are still labelled as disadvantaged, the people refuse to live by that label, and we're very proud of this area and very protective of this area, and that feeds down through the generations. And I'm like yourself, I'm from the Liberties, and it's amazing the reaction you get from people, and people from, very different backgrounds that would talk very grand and so on. They hear you're from the Liberties and they go, "Oh my God, that's a brilliant area."
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, we know that.
I didn't really notice my accent till I worked, and I work out in Dunleary, Rosestown Avenue, and in the hospital. I didn't realise my accent was my accent till I really went out there, and people used to mimic me and say things and I never really got it.
I've come across that as well, and it's gone, love, well, that's showing your insecurity, not mine.
Now, not the people I work with, they're a bunch of lovely feckers, but like patients and other people, I didn't realise. And look, you do get that from people as well, that they may feel that they have to make a comment, but that's their crap. They're not comfortable in their own shoe or their own skin, and they're trying to maybe make you feel, and if someone tries to do that to me, then the Liberties does come out. Oh Jesus!
And that's it.
It's interesting you say there, the resilience. There's been a lot of deaths by suicide around here. There's it's littered with resilience and growth, and it's always trying to do better. Like even the people I follow on Facebook, they're not going to start naming them all, but they're always about doing good or improving the area or not running it down. Do you know what I mean?
No, because at the end of the day, every area, no matter what community you go to, there's good people, there's bad people. Everywhere has problems, but with the Liberties, you find, and it'd be like other inner city areas, that the communities will rally together because they have been left behind by the authorities. That's the label. Don't try to aspire to be anything else, and the people won't stand for that. And you see that with the events that happened last week with the Liberties Culture Association and the Heritage Council, and all these tours and events that were being run for charity. So it was all these tours and everything, and Noel in the deli and the lads in the chicken shop and the fella in the Lark, and everyone got behind it. Because the one thing about the Liberties is, if they see one of their own is doing good, they will get behind you, they will put you on that pedestal. Now they'll kick you off it if you try to get above yourself, but they will get behind you, and that is what is great about the Liberties. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're trying to do something good and positive, they will get behind you. And why would you can't bottle that. Why would you want to live somewhere else? You wouldn't get that, because how many places now have been built, estates have been built. It's not communities that are building. This is a community. Yeah. And that's the one thing that they cannot take away. All the student accommodation, all the change that's happening now, they're trying to take the community away. But the people are not letting that happen. Yeah. The community here is not letting that happen, which is fantastic.
It's deadly. The Liberties came around in the kind of the 13th century, didn't it? It was in the King Henry, and it was a trade, and all that all came around then, right? Yeah,
you have there was I think about 6 or possibly 10 Liberties, different pockets of the city.
Yeah.
And our one, the Thomas Street one, because you had your man Thomas and Becca, they say murdered by the king, or he had something to do, maybe he gave the word and then he was feeling guilty, so granted liberty of Thomas Court in his honour, and it stemmed from there. We were obviously outside the city walls, and that meant that the taxes went to the abbey, so it was like its own little city just outside the city, and it's one of the last surviving. I think it is the last surviving, as we term the Liberties. This is it. this is the one. And Maureen Johnson's book on the banks of Pimlico is fantastic, and given that whole history like of how it got started, and then all through the centuries, like the different phases, the ups and the downs. And look, we're going to see ups and downs for time immemorial, but we always come back. Yeah. We'll always come back. And that is what history has shown with the Liberties, that maybe down for a while, but they're not down forever.
It's funny you say that, the resilience. A lot of podcasts I've done with clinical psychologists, psychiatrists, resilience is the number one indicator for success in young people or a community or a family or whatever. Resilience is huge, and yet you're on the money there. This area has resilience in a bundle. I think I'm a very resilient person. I might be soft at times, but I'm as durable as fuck.
Yeah. I know, you have to be, like you need a thick skin around here. You know, they will. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be Jesus, the president, and you'd be walking down Main Street, and they still rip you a new one. Like, that's the type of people that they are. But yet they'll be so proud of you. Like, they always like to see one of their own do good around here.
Oh, absolutely.
You cannot. Seriously, I've seen it with the book launches and all, and they come out and they will shout it from the rooftops, and it's just brilliant. That,
it's deadly.
Again, because it always goes back to, you're in the inner city, you're disadvantaged, you should not try to be something better, because society won't accept that for you. And it's like, well, sorry, well, fuck you. Don't define me by my postcode. Yeah, I don't let it define me. I'm proud of where I come from, and you find that with the people around here. They are proud of where they come from.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's other people's problem that, they think that's where you're from, that's where you should stay. And look at how many people now want to come to live in the Liberties. Because we don't are young anymore. Sorry.
You recently done a tour of the Liberties for that little weekend.
Yeah.
Just give us a quick synopsis of that. What was the gist?
Basically the revolutionary history of the Liberties, because look, if people say the Liberties, they automatically think Guinness and whiskey now, it's all about that. And it's like, no, there's so much more history to this area: industry, religion, politics, and revolution. And I've been doing this for years on and off. But it is to show that this area, again, I keep going back to it, that it's a disadvantaged area. Yeah, we were there in 1798. The United Irishmen met in Taylor's Hall down on High Street. Lord Edward Fitzgerald is shot and captured. The IAWS building, the building that was there before. That's where he was arrested. There was a fight down at Watling Street between him and the British authorities, the military. You have Jemmy Hope, another United Irishman, lives down the Coombe. He's from Antrim, comes and settles in the Coombe because he's a silk weaver. Robert Emmet Rebellion, Thomas Street. He's publicly executed on Thomas Street. Then you have the 1848 Young Islanders. One of the leaders were sentenced to death. That happens down in Tipperary, that rebellion. Yeah, there's a massive appeal for clemency, and thousands of people from this area signed this petition to get their sentences commuted to imprisonment. So there's the people there. Then you have the Fenians, the men who then will eventually, they're the connection to 1916. John's Lane Church is called the Fenian Church because the fellas that worked on it, building it, were Fenians, and they were all imprisoned up in Kilmainham jail for their part in the rebellion in 1867.
Wow.
Patrick Pearse's dad, James Pearse, sculpted the apostles on the top of the church. Then we come up to 1916. James Connolly lived here, Michael Mallon lived here, Eamon Cant was the commanding officer of the 4th Battalion. This is the 4th Battalion area. We've got Marbone Lane Distillery occupied, Watkins Building occupied, Mendicity down there. Then War of Independence. This place, Donnelly's factory, which is now gone, that was an arms dump, and the IRA used to meet there to practice their rifle drill and stuff. There are raids all around here. Then the Civil War, the 4 lads from here, forced to be executed. Raids down and ambushes down on Thomas Street. One of the Bachelor's Walk victims in 1914 from Sylvester Pigeon from the Coombe, and the IRB organised his funeral. So it's like, this is what the Liberties has to offer, and that's what I was talking about on that tour.
How can people go to this tour? When is it on? How do
I have a Facebook page, Revolution in Dublin Tours. At the minute I've just been doing private group tours, but I will be announcing public tours, maybe do 2 or 3 a month for members of the public, Irish people, to come and go on.
I would love to, because we go on outings in the job. We bring the patients out on days out. We go to see tomorrow or Thursday. We're going over to Collins's Barracks, and we're going down to something on in the Dublin City Council. There's outdoor concerts, but that's something we'd love to do.
Yeah, like, anytime. Just give me a shout.
Yeah, lovely. We'll hook up. Yeah, we'll pay to go to that. That'd be absolutely savage. So you're hoping to write a book about this, and you're going to stick it all into the book?
Yeah. It's the Mercier who are the publishers, and they're really, really cool. They've been very supportive of all the stuff that I've done. But they asked me to write a book on the Liberties, and I said, look, no, there's been books done on the Liberties, and I couldn't touch them, because Maureen Johnson has said her book is the best book, Banks of Pimlico. But the fact that I'd been doing this tour for years, and I was like, well, this is what I do, and they were like, oh, cool, because the 4th Battalion doesn't get a look in. Again, it's like we're disadvantaged in terms of revolutionary activity, in the War of Independence. Because it gets a bit, I did nothing. I was like, hang on a minute, we did. So that's what I'm going to be sort of showcasing in the War of Independence and the Civil War. There was a load of activity around here. And you look at people then that were involved in 1916 and what they went on to do, is some, their careers weren't sort of... they weren't angels, just let's say that, but certainly when it comes to the Civil War, but it just shows you the thing. Like, just one great story. Now, I know it's a bit down, but the Harpers lived in Golden Lane, but they went on opposite sides in the Civil War, and Mary Harper, Jim Harper's sister, and Jim Harper's one of Collins' men, like he was one of the assassins and all, so he's pro-treaty, but she goes anti, and his very close friend, when the Civil War started, Mary was sort of, is it Josephine or Mary? I can't remember her name. It's one of was tried to marry Josephine, but she was climbing over barricade in around Capel Street, and the fella that she would eventually marry her was trying to kill her as she's crossing the barricade.
No way.
And then he realised, that he actually was very fond of her, then pursued her, and then she ended up marrying him. And they're like a great interview with her, going, how could you sort of marry the fella that tried to kill you? And she's going, you know
yourself.
But they're from Long Lane. Long Lane is where they're from. Wow. There's all these gems of stories that are just waiting to be told. I've been lucky that I've been able to find them and talk to the relatives of people as well. And because they're not the well-known people, their stories haven't really been told. But they're there.
Right.
For the taking. And I've been very lucky that the people trust me with their stories. And so that's what I hope to get a few of these stories out in this book.
This is me just thinking, because I'm very creative about things, how are you going to collate that? Is it going to be in a story, or is it, how do you bring all that together? To me that's enormous.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know
difficult.
where to start.
Yeah, it is difficult. It's like gathering the research and you're finding all these gems, and it's like, how does that fit into the timeline? So basically, I think the way I will approach it is that I'll just do it as in 1798, 1803.
Like chronological?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. I
gotcha.
think that's the best way to do it, and then have these little stories within the chapters, because there's a lot of crossover. And like, you look at the Little Flower, the penny dinners.
Yeah, on Meath Street. That
was set up by Nina Heron, those women in 1908. So Maud gone mad, as they used to call her. But she, the priests in John's Lane came to these women, didn't go to the government, seeking their help to feed the kids in this area because there was so much poverty in the area. So the schools in Cook Street and in Meath Street and all. So Nina and Heron basically set up the penny dinners, and the idea was to pay a penny or a halfpenny for their school dinner, but even if they couldn't pay it, no kid went unfed. Now that is still going strong today, and that was the women of Nina and Heron that set that up. They then go and fight in 1916, War of Independence, Civil War. And so you have a real positive saying from these women, as well as the revolutionary aspect of their careers, but the real sense of social justice. These women really made a difference to that community. So that's all the stuff that hopefully will be going into the book, and just fit it in chronologically and hopefully it'll work.
Jesus Christ, you're absolutely blowing my mind. I'm watching a film in front of me here. Right, here's the question from you. You've been studying, being a historian a long time now, studying and reading all this, and history has a habit of repeating itself. From all your reading and researching, what can we take from that and learn?
That nothing's impossible.
In modern life.
Nothing's impossible. These people, very few, came from privileged backgrounds and stuff. There was working class people. It was people that had nothing. What they did have was a belief. And they strove to make a stand so that the next generation would have a brighter future. And I think that's what every generation tries to do. And you've certainly seen that around here. From us growing up, Matthew, what was this area was like, and that there was so much damage done with the drugs and all of that. But the people came back from it. And you look at the women in this community with the summer projects, with the breakfast clubs, with the homework clubs, because they're determined to give those kids a chance. And I think that's what we can take from that previous generation, that you may be down, but you're not beaten. And people may try to keep you down, but you have to try and make a brighter future for yourself and for the next generation. Because if we don't do it, who is? You can't trust the people in charge. Let's face it, really.
That's a true story. You wrote a book, The Women of the Revolution, and I'm going on to that now because the way you're talking about the women in the area around here. Give us a little insight to that book, and that's obviously, I think, it's passionate to you.
That came about by accident, really, because I did the photo book Revolution in Dublin, and I wanted to have a chapter on the women.
Yeah, no, I knew nothing. I know about the revolution, but I never knew women had a significant part. Now I can't say that's not out there because I'm like the Joey Essex of history of things. I only see what's in front of me and what I look for. So it might be out there. I just might be a big stupid dick that just didn't see it.
But it's what interests you. That's the other thing.
But is it talked about a lot?
It is. And you see, this was the thing that has been said. The women were airbrushed out of history, and they were forgotten for a time. But they weren't airbrushed, because I've read so many great books that were written in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s by local historians around the country, and they just put the women there. They didn't siphon them off into a box that this is women's history. The women were part of the story, and that's what I'm trying to do with this, that stop labelling them or labelling it as women's history. It's history, and if we keep bloody labelling it, it will always be in that box.
Okay.
And that goes back to here, you're from the Liberties, you're from a disadvantaged area. Stop putting these bloody labels on things, because people see labels and think that's right. It's not. But with the women's book, because the other book, it was so small, they just said, look, just put the women where you can. I was like, And then I was giving out one day, and my friend Michal did, was like, look, well, if it's annoying you so much, would you not do a photo book on the women? And that hadn't been done before, an actual photo book on the women. So I went to Mercier Press, and they were like, oh, grand. And it was coming up to the centenary of coming them on, which was the women's revolutionary movement. So I was thinking, this could be my way of remembering those women. But the one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to get the women that we didn't know about. So I had to put appeals in newspapers, radio, Facebook, and oh man, thanks to the people who responded, they helped me create the book that I had in my head.
Yeah.
Because it was women that you never heard of, and women from Belfast, women from Tip. It wasn't just a Dublin Cork book. I tried to go national with it as much as possible. And just the stories were amazing, and the people that I met. And then you meet people whose mothers had been friends and they lost touch over time. But then I was then saying, oh no, I met that person. So they were reconnecting. And
wow.
It's so cool.
You're like Cilla Black. This is your life.
Surprise, surprise.
Hello, darling. Brilliant.
And it was just a journey. And I'm still meeting people. Like that book now was out 4 years. It's gone into reprint. I'm still getting contacts from people saying, look, saw your book, and I know she's not in the book, but would you be interested in our story and all? And it's just grown. And what is great about it is that it's not just a history book. You've got fashion students have bought that book because the photographs are in it, the style, because you're really proud women, you know, they're into their hairstyles, they're into the way they look. There's dramatists, a girl wrote a play based on the book, and kids are reading it, you know, so it's like
savage. It's
not just fit into that box. It's sort of went, it's gone mad. Plus I went to Mozambique to talk about them because of that book.
Did you? Yeah. Oh, Jesus, you're some woman.
That was a joke.
That was a wind up.
Yeah, got a phone call from the ambassador going, we'd like you, if you saw your book, would you come over and do a talk in 2016? And I went, yeah. I said, I'm going to a meeting, can you ring me back tomorrow? And he rang me back and I was going, where's Mozambique?
Oh, Jesus.
So I ended up going to Mozambique to talk to the politicians there about the Irish Revolution and the women.
That is fantastic.
And one of the politicians turned around and says, I love your accent. So I was like, go on.
Winner. I know that parents are not to have a favourite kid, right? So we'll call that era your books and all. Who's your favourite and all that? What period, what part, what do you...
Civil War. I sort of approached it backwards. Because 1916, there was loads of stuff out in 1916, but when I really started getting into history, nothing had been really written about the Civil War. So I like to try and find out things that nothing has been really written about. And now there is a lot of books out on it. And then I went and looked at the War of Independence and then 1916. But the Civil War is just fascinating because it was such a short period. It was 11 months. What was it? June 22 to May 23. But literally no one was left unaffected by it. And it was brother against brother. But now, as I've discovered, wives against husbands, sisters against each other, families completely destroyed, and the savagery. You compare the Irish Civil War to other civil wars and it's nothing in terms of the casualty numbers and the length, but it was so savage, and we're still living with that legacy today, and people are still feeling the emotions of the Irish Civil War 100 years on. So that's the area that I'm really passionate about, because look, you know, people made decisions. We've got the benefit of hindsight. We're living 100 years later. What would we have done? I can't answer that question, but I don't certainly want to judge those people because I was never in their shoes, you know. And it's by not talking about them, because they have been forgotten about, we're not remembering them all by not talking about it, you know, rightly or wrongly. Yeah. They believed in what they were doing, and you know, what I found out now talking to the families and stuff is that fellas that had this bravado and so on, very few didn't suffer from the effects of post-traumatic stress. And that's what needs to be looked at, because can you imagine Ireland, 1920s, who could they go to? A priest? And what would the priest say? You know, decade of rosaries, go on your way. But like, they turn to drink, they turn to, like, obviously their friends, because that's who they could talk to. Nervous breakdowns, a lot of them died young. And that hasn't been looked at. Because you know yourself.
What about suicides?
That's covered. They allude to it on the files, but the amounts that end up in asylums and Grangegorman, and it's heartbreaking, both men and women. And then when the pensions came out, you know, and their families, you know, basically sending begging letters to get someone because they were destitute, they're in an asylum, people are trying to help them, but they can't. And you know, even today, the image of the Irish male is macho. Don't show your emotions.
Masculinity.
Can you imagine that back in 1920?
I can't even.
Odd.
How did that impact you? Did that really touch you when you were doing that research? You know. Yeah,
you get angry, and you know, you get frustrated, and then of course, and when you're seeing the letters,
because it's real. Like, this is real. It's not like watching a film on, you know, Hollywood. This is raw, real shit. These are people's lives. Wow, I'm blown away by that.
And you're seeing, like, and the women, like the women, because they were in, basically the civil service didn't want to give money to anyone. And if you were on the right side in the Civil War, you got a pension before the anti-treaty side. But then Dev comes in and he opened up to everyone. But the civil service, like, people who were on hunger strike in the 1920s, but then in the 1930s, they died because of the effects of the hunger strike. And their families had nothing. Like, because it was the wife, she didn't work because her husband was the earner. And you're talking about people saying, my kids are going to go out on the street. And they're then responding saying, well, your husband didn't die as a direct result of action. He wasn't in combat. We can't put it down to his hunger strike that he died. And you're saying that and you're going, Jesus Christ, these people gave up everything, and it's just down to red tape. They're seen as a number and not a person. And that's just really frustrating. And you're thinking, like, Jesus Christ, if they hadn't known that's what would have happened, would they have gone out and fought and done all that and sacrificed? Not that that they did it for money, but when you're fecking on your bloody knees, and if it's a choice of your kids going to school or your pride, you'll take the money or you apply for the money so your kids can go to fecking school.
Yeah.
And then to be refused that because you only did intelligence work. That wasn't really dangerous work. You know, and then your husband died, but it wasn't as a direct, he wasn't shot. So we can't attribute that to an actual action. So that's really frustrating when you see that, because they see that they're people and, you know, they were ordinary men and women.
Wow,
you know?
That touches me, and you're just telling me that story. I can only imagine what it was like for you. Right, let's talk something a bit more exciting for you, probably. Talk to me about your wedding.
Oh, good Jesus. Yeah.
In City Hall. I seen the pictures. I read loads. I've been stalking you. I've been reading everything about you. I do a bit of research.
Oh, God.
There was reenactments. You were stopped on the road.
Yeah, I didn't know about that now. Mates of mine, James Langston and Ronnie Daly, and they are lovely. Because we go out, like, you know.
So you got married in City Hall.
Got married in City Hall.
Very significant.
And, well, I was like, once I found out you get married in City Hall, it was like 1916, War of Independence, Civil War connection right there. So it was like, hello, I'm in my church, grand. And, yeah, unbeknownst to me, Micheál was in on it. And the lads basically said to Micheál, do you think would Liz like us to dress up as the volunteers for her? And Micheál was like going, yeah, you have to do it. So James, the husband, when he was coming down to City Hall, he saw them all getting ready, but he didn't say anything to me. And we got married, and I was just like, I wasn't a bit emotional. It was like, right, he's here, he's grand, we've gotten through the wedding, we're over, we can just now enjoy the reception. And as we walked out the door, that's when I saw the lads, James Langton, Terry Crosby, Ronnie Daly, doing the gun salute, like.
Right.
And that's when I broke down, because this was like, oh my God, this is a dream.
Okay, so let's paint the picture here. You have these like men dressed up as in the 1916 gear, guns.
Yeah, bandoliers, flat caps, putties with rifles and shotguns.
Just off Dame Street.
Off Dame Street.
What the hell were people looking out their apartment going, is this a film being made, or is this the IRA starting up again?
People thought it was a film being made.
Yeah,
and then
the pictures are savage. The pictures are savage. I'll put a link up on the show notes. I'll be linking your books. I'll be linking the website, and I'll be throwing these up as well.
It was brilliant. And then when we drove off in the car, they stopped us then, did a checkpoint, and we're like, no, you can't go past without the papers. We have to see the papers. And it was class. It was brilliant. Having a glass of champagne in one hand and then, you know, a gun in the other. It was just like bloody brilliant.
Up the rat.
And then the reception was fantastic. Disney themed reception. So it was me two passions coming together.
What?
It was a Disney themed reception.
Oh, jeez. 1 million were all gone. The next you had the Little Mermaids. That's crazy.
It was class. It was totally off the wall,
brilliant.
but it was brilliant. And everyone had a bottle, so it was great.
Savage.
Then went down to Cork for the honeymoon and visited Republican graves. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
So, yeah, it's something I'm a bit passionate about. Yeah.
Absolutely. Come here. We talked a little bit about your tours now. What other stuff are you working on at the moment? What projects, work? What are you doing?
Doing a lot of talks.
Tell us about it.
And I've been very lucky that, again, people with the books, they've been getting in touch with me to do talks on different subjects, women and stuff, which is fantastic. And then in October, I'll be back on the History Show. I'm a researcher on the History Show, which is fantastic because it's taken me out of my comfort zone, because not only am I researching Irish history in the RST archives, but I'm researching world history. And then it's taken in me training from animation, because I'm editing stuff and all. So the two worlds have come together. 20 years later, they came together. So nothing was wasted, you know.
Never is.
Twice in college, nothing was wasted. And then writing the book, and just sort of anything to do with history, I'll push. And I've been very lucky in that people have been receptive to it and want me to do talks and tours and events, you know, so...
When do you think that book will be out? When do you hope to have that?
Hopefully could be next year.
Right.
I need to stop finding stuff though, because I'm finding more stuff. Like I was up to 4 o'clock there the other morning because it was just, I kept finding stuff about here in 1921 about Dolphin's Barn, and it's just like I have to go to bed.
That's like where do you, like, you could be going on for hours. That's an infinity of information. It boggles my mind.
It's great, but I have come up with a system to actually file the stuff on the computer, so it's not just all what the hell am I looking at. It only took me 10 years to do it, but I have a system now.
Oh, you actually
of where stuff goes.
You don't just randomly Google it and it goes into your noggin and you hope to remember. You just...
No, it has to go into a file, has to go in, and then also a paper trail as well. Write down where I found it, because computer can always crash. So have a paper trail as well.
So that's all your research skills coming back.
Oh yeah, I write down everything.
You're diligent with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because a computer can go. And like I have all my books handwritten, like as in wrote them out by pen, and then typed them up. So I can understand them. No one else can, because like doctors writing. But I know
that's not important.
So you know it's so at least there's a hard copy there. Yeah, there's a few tear stains on them as well. But yeah.
Coffee and tears, they look the same.
And I have to say, my sister Miriam, she's brilliant, because I run all the stuff past her, because Miriam doesn't have an interest in history. So if
she proofreads stuff?
Yeah, she's the first one I go to, because she'll say, it's boring, I don't need to know your man walked up and down the road 20 times. It's just the facts. So my stuff is quite immediate. There's not a long-winded introduction. You're pretty much straight into the action, and it's very much about people. The events are through the people, so it's not sort of faceless things. You invest in the people, because I invest in the people, because that's what she likes. And again, need to take skin for our criticism, but she hasn't proved me wrong yet. I know if she'll like it, then it'll go well, because that's who I'm trying to reach with these books, is people who don't think they're interested in history. That's who I'm trying to get.
Me, I've not read any of your books, but I'm going to.
Yeah. People. That's what it's about. It's history is people that make up these events. And when you take it down, when you strip it back to that, it's like, oh yeah, cool. You know, you start to see who they are, what way they taught, and they're not perfect. You know, so you can like them, loathe them, call them now bollocks and stuff like that.
It's interesting because you say that, because the guy in the job, Sam, he's a security guy. He's the most intelligent person I've met in the last few years. He's unreal. Well, present company accepted, obviously. But we were talking about the 1960s rise, and he goes, people glorified, and it was going on, and he talked exactly about the wind that shake the barley, and he says, watch that film. He said that gives you a true event. Now I'm going to go back to him with this information you gave me about these brothers and see, was that what he was talking about? Because he's very knowledgeable, this dude. I was telling him I was going to be talking to you.
Watch that film. What now? Bring hankies.
I've seen it, but I didn't know what you were after telling me. The way he's after telling me, says it wasn't all like to make it out to be this great, you know.
Oh, compared to Michael
success.
Collins, no. Michael Collins is, you know, look, it's a film that gets people interested in history, but by Jesus, read books after you watch it, because it's so inaccurate. It's a Hollywood film. Whereas this was meant to be a fictional account, but is actually more truthful to the events. And because you've got the Michael ambush in it, you've got the torture of Tom Hales, you've got the executions of the informers. Everything in that film happened. West Cork is he said it was based on Early O'Malley. It's the Hales Brothers, it's the West Cork Brigade, and basically the book that I did is the film version, or the book version of the film, because it's based on them and their story is fucking amazing. Sad, but amazing.
Do you know what? I listen to a lot of Blind Boy podcasts, right? And he's huge on history, he's huge on knowledge, but I think I'm doing you a disservice having you here. You need to be on his show. He needs to get you and talk to you. The world needs to hear you and question you and dig into your knowledge. I feel like I've a gem here and I don't know what to do with it. I can't rub it to get it sparkled. You, Blind Boy, if you could do anything, get this girl on your podcast. The world needs to hear. I swear to God. One question for you. What's the one thing you'd like people to take away from this interview?
One thing would be that take a chance. in life. If you're passionate about something, go for it. And it may not work out, but if you don't try, you will regret it. If you do try and you fail, unless you've killed somebody or, you know, you've harmed yourself, what have you lost? I took that chance. I had great support behind me, and I have done things that I never, ever, ever thought I would do. I never thought that I would write a book. I never thought I would go to Mozambique and meet fucking Mozambique politicians, or travel around the country, go to Poznan in Poland, talk about the Irish Revolution. So this has opened up so much for me, and it was just having that belief in yourself. And one thing certainly coming around here is don't listen, or don't live by the label that others are putting on you, because that's their problem and not yours. And we live in a fantastic area, and it's full of fantastic people who are so passionate about just getting on with things and supporting people, supporting their own, and are real dubs.
Up the Liberties.
Up the Liberties. We are in a song.
Like, so, we've produced gems. Like, again, I don't blow smoke with people's holes. I'm delighted. I can't believe I've had this interview with you. You've blown me away with your knowledge, your enthusiasm, your hand signals. I think Aer Lingus need to get you in directing planes. Yeah, fucking, it's brilliant. I'm trying to get the likes of Melda May on the show. What another legend. She's a Liberties legend. You know, I'd love to get her, and I'm stalking her on Facebook. I'm asking Anita Riley to hook me up. Tell her you need to come on the show, because I need people to hear about the Liberties.
Yeah, and another one that, like, look how well she has done, but never forget where she comes from.
I've heard, I don't want to say now because I want to reveal me secrets, because I'm not keeping for the show. I've heard things about her, the good things she's done around here, the things she's done for the local people, things she's done for the women, families, people I know well, like helped out. She's just solid, lovely person. Yeah. But she's not into me stalking her on Twitter. Do you know what I mean? Apparently that's what you have to do in this trade, is to hunt people down. Where that's so counterintuitive to where I am. I just like, nah, I'll just hopefully they come over and they want to be on my show.
Go down to Joyce in the Grotto, see if you can get you in, see if she can get you in to meet her.
You reckon?
Yeah, Joyce in the Grotto. Buy a few mask cards.
You'll see me on Grey Street with a plaque. Imelda, come out. And then I'll be dragged off to Kevin Street. But no, it's not even, like, I'm not a big fan of her music. I'm not slacking up. It's her. And the fact that she's on the Liberties, and she talks so well about things that she's passionate about, and she wears her heart on her sleeve. Yeah. And she's so much the Liberties. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
She's passionate. She doesn't forget where you come from. And that's one thing about the Liberties is, and again, it's like the people get behind it and support you, but don't try and knock it. Don't forget where you come from. And that was something that I was reared, you know, with, and a lot of people around here, you know, be proud of where you come from. You know, it's what makes you the person that you are. But definitely for the next generation, you know, they need to see that the sky is the limit, nothing else, and to go for that. Yeah. And you know, we've proved it, that, you know, we've gone back to college, we've tried and we've succeeded, and we were probably written off. But to have that belief in yourself, and it's just that confidence, and go for it. You're going to meet assholes, but that's their crap to deal with.
But you started the interview with passion, and you've ended with passion. Your whole talk with me here is all about your passion. Like, you didn't start off this because you wanted to make money.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? None of this is money. I'm not driven by money. I just want to,
tell the stories.
Yeah, like, be passionate about something. Be like, this to me sitting here is priceless. I wouldn't want to be paid a penny for this. Well, I would. If you're going to give me money, I'll take it. Yeah. But it's not about that. No. It's about the passion, the love of something. Like I said to you earlier, if you were into horology or you're into studying, I don't know, fruit flies in the Amazon, I'd want to talk to you, because passion hooks me. Yeah.
And that's what people see. If you come meet people who have no interest. I've met them, they've no interest in history, but they will see me talk, and it's the passion. It's like that history teacher. You know, as I said, I'd no fucking interest in the Industrial Revolution, but it was what she brought to it.
Hooks you.
And that's it. And wherever field it is in, you know, if you get someone that can just inspire you, you can then go for it. And, you know, you can see that it can be done. And it will be hard. You know, you will get knocks and all, but unless they actually kill you, you've lost nothing. You don't notice how hard something is when you're passionate about it. You're like, fuck it. Oh, geez, keep going. When you have the why and the want, that's it. The how is not really important. I'll get there. Yeah. Yeah, some way you'll get there. You know, and you know, smile and you'll meet amazing people. You'll meet gobshites as well, but more often than not, you'll meet some amazing people. And you know, even with that this gang of historians, you know, we're all just as mad as each other and as passionate for our subject as the other. So we bounce off each other, and then that just feeds into it.
And you meet the people of like mind when you start positioning yourself. Like I'm sitting down now doing this with you, passionate. I meet other people, and once you start pointing yourself in that direction, you just surround yourself with these people, and you're going, how the fuck did I end up here?
Yeah.
You go, because you put yourself here, this is what you're into, and you go, oh yeah.
Yeah,
deadly.
Like, what's the alternative to being a fucking miserable job and just, you know, that it can be just soul destroying.
Soul destroying.
To have that passion, something that you're interested in, and then it can lead to something.
Yeah, and have money for a few points in the lark in.
Exactly, or in my case, go to Disney.
Deadly.
Roller coasters, that's how I relax.
Look at our worlds. I want to go down the lark to have a point. You want to go to Disneyland. You're
look on the deals.
All right, we'll leave it there. Liz, thanks very much. I'm going to put all your stuff up on our show notes, your books, your website, your Facebook page if people want to do tours. I will do all that for people to look more into you. I'm absolutely delighted, and I'm very, very proud of you. I think you're an amazing person.
Thanks a million, Matt. An absolute pleasure. And likewise, very proud of you because, as I said, I didn't think it was the Matt Burke that I knew from when I was growing up. Matthew Burke is what you went by.
Yeah, we'll just end that there. Cut. Thanks very much. Enjoy the show. Okay, so there you go. What another absolute fantastic interview. Jesus Christ. You can't buy that kind of stuff. You can't buy that passion, enthusiasm. Teach that in college. You don't leave college with that. You go and you get an education, but that is an absolute ingrained, beautiful passion at its very best there, you know. An absolute gem, a treasure in the Liberties. Now, I might be biased. I probably am biased, but I don't give a rat's. She's just unbelievable. Like, you would think that she was at all those events in the 1916s. She writes and talks like she was there. And I thought she was narrating a film when we were having the interview. I was just blown away. I was absolutely blown away by her. These are the kind of people that should be at the front of education. I know she says she does do education at school and has worked with kids and all. Like, I wish to God I had a tutor or a teacher in school that delivered education at that, or be able to... Like, I mean, I don't know an awful lot about Irish history. And I remember having a history teacher back in school. I went to France Street. I can't give my man's name. But absolutely boring. You know, he'd have made smoking crack cocaine sound boring. You know, just brutal. And imagine if you had a tutor like that, giving you education in maths, biology, Irish, English. Like, what? That's what you should have. That's what you should leave college with. An absolute built-in bundle of energy to just share your passion and love for your trade or your knowledge, to just give that to people, because that is influential. Like, if you did not know anything about history and you heard her speak for the first time, that would make you want to go out. With me anyway, I don't know about you, but that would make you want to go out and learn more about it, pick up the books. You know, I've got a load of books on the go at the moment, but I definitely will be picking up some of our books and having a read of them, you know. So I'll just read you out some of the books that she has wrote. First of all, she wrote a book called The Fall of Dublin, Revolution in Dublin, Women of Irish Revolution, Hales Brothers and the Irish Revolution, and then she also co-wrote We Were There, 77 Women of the Easter Rising. Man, check those books out. I'm sure you can buy them online. Well worth a read. They get great reviews. And as I say, I will definitely go and have a look at them when I'm finished reading the kind of stuff. I'm going through a few different things at the moment, different books. I'm building shows. So steering off course and going off and reading Irish history books, that might bring me down a rabbit hole. So I'm going to just leave that off for now. But absolutely go out and check the books. They sound deadly. She's also on YouTube. There's lots of videos where she talks about the Liberties. She does private work, giving tours. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, get involved. Liz Gillis, she's on Facebook, Twitter. Can't remember her Twitter handle, but she's on Twitter. Get in contact with me if it's something that you want to like to touch base with her. But I'm blown away to have such a treasure in the area, and I'm not just blowing smoke up a hole. She really is, and you can see that, you can hear that in the interview. She's just deadly. She's the business. So Liz, I'm absolutely delighted to have you on the show. As I said, probably I don't think I've done her justice and getting more knowledge out of her, because I don't know an awful lot about Irish history, and somebody of maybe like Blind Boy is quite knowledgeable, and I've heard him talk on a podcast. Imagine if he had her on. It would be an absolute gem of an interview, and that's something that I'd love to listen to. And there was times in that interview there, I wish I wasn't interviewing her, that I was sitting back and listening to it, because I was just blown away, and I'm absolutely delighted. So yeah, check out Liz Gillis on Facebook or Twitter. So hopefully you really, really enjoyed that podcast, because I did. I thought it was an absolute gem. Okay, as always, I'd like to thank my crew. A new member of the crew, Kevin Doyle. Kevin has been helping me on and off for the last number of months, but he couldn't commit. I did have Derek, but Derek has to go off and do a course. He's doing a sound engineering course, so he's tied up with that, so he's going to move on. So thanks a lot for all your help, Derek. You really gave a lot to the show, and I appreciate it. So we have Kevin on board now. Kevin Doyle is looking after the sound and editing. So Kevin, welcome to the team. You're an absolute legend. Thanks for your help on this podcast and all the other ones you've helped me. And then Aaron, my main man for social media. Thanks a lot, pal. As always, Niall Riley from Rooney Media. If you have any graphic design needs, printing, website stuff, anything around that, get in contact with them guys. They'll absolutely help you. They're brilliant. He's my best mate and a legend. Also, Carolyn Harvey from ISANutrition. For all your nutritional needs, get involved with them. Get in contact with her on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. You know, if you're looking just to be educated around it, if you're looking to lose weight, want to put on some muscle, if you're thinking about competing in a competition, whatever level you're at, whether you're a basic right up to an advanced person in training, health and fitness, whatever, get in touch with them. She's got amazing skills, emotional and social intelligence that I've talked before. As I said, I'd done a review. I wrote out a review for her. Well, typed it out. I didn't do the old handwriting job. So I've done a review for her, just to say I've done a 6-week program to date. I think it's 7 weeks now, and I'll record this. So I've started a program with her. So we're now on about the 7th week. So my reflection back on it has been, to date, it's been absolutely really, really, really positive. Okay, so a little insight to my background. So I've got a sports science degree. I've also got a qualification of personal training, exercise and fitness. I've loads of other strength and conditioning courses. I've been to umpteen nutritional talks and seminars, courses. I've done tons and tons of reading. I've read umpteen books on nutrition, videos over the last 10-15 years. It's a passion of mine, health related information, especially nutritional science, anything to improve human performance. I've been reading it. Okay, so with that information, I can apply that to all sorts of clients. I've worked with lots of people, professionals within my hospital, people looking, to lose weight for weddings, people just wanted to get fit, some people wanted to get stronger or better body, all the stuff that other personal trainers do, and strength condition coaches, yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff. Okay, but I've never been able to master getting down to a certain body fat percentage myself. I just haven't. Although I've all the skill set, I've all the knowledge, I've always been an emotional eater. Since growing up as a kid, I was a chubby little kid, and I turned to food for comfort, and that's been right the way through my adulthood. Now I've got, at the moment I'm rocking at maybe 18% body fat. I was a little higher recently, and I got a bod pod test, and that revealed I was 20. I'm probably a little bit lower than that now. But anyway, my point being, I carry a bit of body fat. I train a lot. I love training. And if anyone that knows me, my philosophy would be, it's 20% training, 80% diet. Now I train a lot, so I should be leaner. For common people would say, move more, eat less. I just, didn't really look after my diet. I don't really look up to then. Didn't really look after my diet. Well, I did. I was mindful of my protein, but not the rest. I would just pig out and whatever. But once my protein, because I just think protein is the essential blocks of life. So you really need to be looking after that. So I always rocked around with a high percentage of body fat, but I carried a lot of muscle as well. But I've always bugged me that I couldn't apply the same skill set to myself. I could start it off and I'd be diligent with my plan and all that, but it come to a point where it'd get difficult and emotion would kick in me, and maybe decisions would be swayed by how I emotionally feel. If I was sad or I was eating, and the logic would go out of it, and I'd be making decisions around emotion. So what I done was I had the chat with Carolyn, and she was happy enough to work with me. She done out a plan for me that was simple. I'm not saying that losing weight is simple. In theory, it is, because I'm knowledge about it. It's just reduce the amount of food you take. Be mindful of the macronutrients, fats, proteins, carbs. I know all that. I know how to plan it out. But to have somebody else to come and take the thinking away for you, so then you can just concentrate on your work or your podcast or your life and your family. And then when it comes to a point when you're following a plan with Carolyn, and I touch in with her and I touch base, say, look, I was going to do this, and she say, no, stick to the plan. This is the plan. Let's be logical. Let's be systematic about it. Let's do this linearly. Stop veering off to the left. Because in life, I've often, when it came to my nutrition and reaching a certain body fat percentage, I would get to a point and I'd take a little turn to the right, then I'd take another little turn to the right, and then all of a sudden, before I knew it, from all the bad decisions, I'm back to where I start. And I'm like, oh fuck, here we are again. I've made progress, but subconsciously I've took a few right turns, and now all of a sudden I'm back to where I start. And that has been the cycle of me trying to get leaner. But still, my training hasn't changed. All I've done was I've brought Carolyn to look after my nutrition. As I say, she's got excellent social and emotional intelligence. She works in a professional environment outside the gym, but then our nutritional company aside, I think she's going to move more into that. So she's an awareness around being professional, working in a gym, but she's also worked in some, I would say, in the 90s, some hostile gyms. So she understands all this. She hasn't always been a trainer that worked in the likes of Ben Dunn's or Fly Fitness, your cool upcoming gyms. She's worked in the dingy sawdust on the floor kind of gyms from back in the 90s. She's competed at a world level in women's masters figure bodybuilding, or women's figure, whatever you want to call it. I hope I'm not doing any disrespect to that, but she's done figure competitions, so she's known what it's like to get down to stage condition. And that's the kind of work she's doing with me, that I want to reduce my body fat percentage, and come with that, when you reduce food, emotions kick in. So to link in with somebody else, and not to go, oh, my ego, I can't work with someone, I've got these qualifications, I can't have someone else tell me what to do. She's not teaching me anything I don't know. She just helped me emotionally and psychologically and scientifically, going, this is what we're doing scientifically, and when you veer off to the left, I'm just going to pull you over. And that's what we do. And you know what? It's been a breath of fresh air working with her. And it's been a learning curve for me. Because losing weight and getting a healthy body or getting a healthy lifestyle is not just all about applying the science behind the books. There's so much more, the psychosocial and the temptations and all that. But just the voice with someone and with her experiences, say, hold on, I've done it this way and I've found it that way, and maybe try this. And she just has a way of saying things, and she's not condescending. She's just a good sports nutritional coach. She's a good life coach, and I think she's going to do really well in this business. I really do. She's got a great package, her personality and the knowledge that she has behind it, and I'm totally indebted to her. I think it's brilliant, and I'm glad. And as I say, I was talking to Dr. Maria Frampton, and we talked recently about doctors, suffering mental health problems and not going to other doctors because the other doctor finds it difficult to work with another doctor. And then you, if you were the doctor, you'd find it difficult going to one of your fellow professionals saying, oh, I'm down, I'm this, and you'd be worried about them questioning your professionalism and whether you make a decision, and was that decision altered by your mood? And there's loads of these things at play. And it's a huge reason why a lot of doctors, as when we talked to Dr. Maria Frampton in America, die by suicide. They don't look after their own mental health, or they don't go and seek professional guidance from other doctors. And I think we absolutely should. We need to leave the ego at the door and take away our emotion and things, and someone tell us logically how to do something. Because there's a lot going on. We can concentrate on our own professional. Then if we have somebody assisting us, we're applying it to ourselves. Because I can't articulate the way I'm thinking. I hope I'm explaining this right. But what my point being would be, if you're a healthcare professional or you're a doctor and you're suffering any kind of ill effect to your health, whether you're putting on weight, type 2 diabetes, mental health, go to another doctor, go to another professional, put your ego at the door and say, do you know what, this is more important to me. And not only will you grow as a person and get healthier, you'll save your own life. And you can be an inspiration to other people. Lead by example and go, do you know what, I don't have all the answers, or I do have the answers, but I just can't apply them to myself. So do you know what, I'm going to seek help from another professional and do the right thing. And that's what I did. I'm not saying I'm a leading example. I'm just saying it wasn't working for me. The way I was doing things just wasn't working. It was working for other people, and people who come to my classes, the strength and conditioning class, and they love it and they get great results. But I wasn't giving myself the same results. And I've got 101 things going on at the moment. So it was absolutely brilliant that I could hand this over to Carolyn and say, help me out with this. And then she does all the thinking for me. She plans it out. It's very simplistic. There's nothing fancy pants about it. It's logical. It's easy to follow. There's no restrictions. Well, there's a restriction. You got to eat a certain amount, but that'll work for any kind of diet. Eat less than you're supposed to do, and then use exercise to reap the health benefits or build muscle. I just love going to the gym, and I love building muscle. And then to lose weight, lose body fat, not weight, but lose body fat, you just have to eat less. Eat less of your macronutrients, not eat less and less calories. I don't only send that message out. It's all about eating less and moving more. I don't really agree with all that. You just have to be mindful of the macronutrients and the vitamins and minerals that you put into your body. That all has to be important, So that's my little tuppence worth on ISANutrition. I absolutely love the work that she does, and I do think she's going to be a huge success. So that's just my endorsement, and I give that, I promise, as a client and a healthcare professional. I'm not blowing smoke up her hole. I'm not just saying it because she's a friend. I genuinely believe that if I didn't, one, I wouldn't be working with her, and two, I just wouldn't say this, because I wouldn't be able to say it with any kind of heartfelt honesty and being genuine. I just wouldn't. So I'll just say nothing. But I just felt that because I wrote the review, and sometimes text doesn't have tone, it's better said through voice. You can pick up my emotion. Sometimes I get excited about things, sometimes I'm not so excited. So you can't do that with pen and paper or typing out. So I just wanted to give that little endorsement. So if you've any needs around the nutritional, get in contact with those guys. Or if you are a healthcare professional, or you're someone that needs help from another professional, you know what? Put your ego at the door and just go for it. You will be a better person when you learn more, and you learn more about yourself. And that's how I roll. Anyway, right, so that's another little rant. Hope you enjoyed that podcast. I hope you enjoy all our podcasts. Please keep sharing them with your family and friends. Get on iTunes and leave a delicious review. We're on SoundCloud, all the podcast kind of apps out there, Spotify. We're right across the board with them. Have a look. Keep listening in, as I say, and if you have any recommendations for people that you'd like us to chat to or interview, get in contact with us. I'm on Facebook too. I'm on Instagram and Twitter and all that social media malarkey. So wherever you are in the world, please, I promise, if you look after yourself and you're kind to you, if you really are genuinely kind to yourself and say, do you know what, I'm not a bad old fecker, you will look at the world totally different. I know I keep saying it all the time, but I really believe it. It's something I try practice, and sometimes I give myself a little hard time where I have to say to myself, do you know what, you're not the worst in the world. and go a little easier on yourself, and then you start to look at with people with a little less of a scaldy face, let's say. You know, you just see the world with a little bit more of a chirp in you. Right, anyway, look after yourself, take care, enjoy the show, bye bye.